NASCAR and FX welcomes you to Nashville Super Speedway, where today it's the NASCAR Busch Series, racing for 300 miles. Engines have fired, field at the ready. And on our Super 8 starting grid, we'll show you how the field will roll off after Martin Truex has gone to the rear. Not exactly how they qualified, because the inside column moves up. That moves Bobby Hamilton Jr. up to the front row alongside Johnny Benson. So this is the way they will come to the flag.
And as we mentioned also in the pre-race show, Greg Biffle in the 60 car, he qualified 16th. He will move back there with Martin Truex Jr. along with David Keith, also wrecked in happy hour practice, and Derek Cope had an engine change as well.
We're on a hurry-up start because of bands of heavy showers heading this way. So here's our Bombardier ATV weather.
There you see the air temperature is 61 degrees. It looks like the weather's going to be pretty consistent. And remember, we talked in the beginning also, this is a concrete racetrack. So track temperature, it's not as sensitive to temperature changes as it would be if we were on asphalt.
This track is 1.3 miles. So to complete 300 miles, we'll take 225 laps, 45-mile-an-hour pit road speed, and they'll pit every 70 to 80.
And that will be for fuel. And at 225 laps, these guys would like to be able to do this race on 2 stops, but a big concern, they have 3 sets of tires they can change under caution per NASCAR rule. The left side tires, especially the left front, seems to be wearing as much as any tire on the car, so there was some concern if 3 sets was enough.
Yeah, Jeff, this morning we talked to some drivers with rear tire trouble, some drivers who were wearing that left front right to the cord in practice.
Mike, you're exactly right. That's the biggest concern up and down pit road here today, that all the main guys that I can talk to said, hey, watch the left side tires. We've got to be real careful that we don't get ourselves in trouble by trying to go too long on this first stop, especially because left sides have only been looking good right around 35 laps when guys start really getting concerned.
Jeff, do you think is some of that just the setup of the cars here, or is it what the drivers are doing, either getting into or off the corner, that's abusing that left front?
It's a combination of both, Mike. You really try to hunt that bottom line and get on that white line, as we say, around these corners. And some of the guys are actually even kind of clipping the asphalt. So trying to turn the car with the left front tire, by doing that, I mean, you just put an added load on top of it. The new type of tire we're racing here at Nashville for the first time, the sidewalls flex a little bit more, got a little bit more side bite to them, so it's just natural when the car tries to run up off that bottom, it really works these left side tires.
There's Martin Truex Jr., who has stopped to retake his position at the tail end.
Now, that crash happened fairly early in final practice. They did get out on the racetrack in this car and actually made about 21 laps. Wasn't quite as good as the other car. This is a brand new race car. They did test it at Texas, so it has some track time. But this was going to be their car that they plan on running at Lowe's Motor Speedway at Charlotte next month.
Matt?
Mike, another guy who 1 year ago started this race, his first ever Busch Series start, and that's David Stremme. He told me they really feel like the team continues to make leaps and bounds. They didn't do a lot of testing this year as we get ready to go 1 to go here at Nashville. They really feel like, though, they are starting to come into their own. He says the 1 year anniversary, he'd love to break through and get a win here. Wholesale changes on that race car. Halfway through the final practice, the car really came to life.
A new number on that car. They've been running 32. They are now and will be number 30 the balance of the season. We'll explain that a little further later on.
You know, Mike, you talk about the setup here. I mean, this is a 1.3 mile racetrack with 22 degrees of banking. They're trying to run around here at an average well over 160 miles an hour. The racetrack almost wasn't designed for those speeds, so that's why I think it's such a fine line as far as the setup of these cars. And where we see a lot of cars get in trouble, it's like a very narrow area to enter these corners at that fast. And if you miss your mark by half a car length, you're in trouble the rest of the corner.
Field in the backstretch. Lights are out atop the Toyota Camry that serves as the safety car here. And we get set to go for 300 miles on FX. Next week, Saturday, NASCAR Craftsman Trucks at Martinsville on Speed Channel. And Sunday, we're back on Fox with Nextel Cup racing for you from the half mile at Martinsville.
DW will be in that truck race, making his debut here in the 2004 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Tell you, Mike, I look at that 25 car that will now start on the pole, Bobby Hamilton Jr. A lot of fingers in the garage area this morning pointing toward that car, say, if we beat him, we'll probably win this race.
Pace car is in, and under threatening skies and a cool spring day just outside Nashville, Tennessee. Green flag, and we're racing.
Johnny Benson in the one car, he would like to get to the inside groove there in front of Johnny Sauter in the 27, but I don't believe he's going to be able to win the drag race. And there you're going to see, he probably won't get as much grip in that second groove. Sauter will probably win the race off turn 2.
3 wide as they came through 1 and 2 back in midfield as drivers scramble for position, and the driver who made it 3 wide was Truex. Wow.
He knows he wants to make up as much ground as he can here in early laps, because the more he has to fight with those cars back there, Mike, the leaders are just going to be getting further and further away.
He and Ron Hornaday both working the outside early. Drivers this morning said there's no outside groove here, no outside groove. As one car toward the back slips up, and then we'll find a place in line. But there is, right away. Everybody is looking for the outside, and they're making it work. They're passing.
And we did have an ARCA race here last night, which probably helped rubber in that second groove even a little bit more.
Casey Kane battling Stacy Compton in the 59. That's for 5th place. Right with him, Mike Bliss in the 20, and Kyle Busch, last year's ARCA winner here, in the 5.
As you heard Casey Kane in his interview with Matt Yoakum, talked about a lot of changes on that race car this morning. When you make that many changes to a car, as we see still Stacy Compton and Mike Bliss side by side, you know, that driver has to go out there with confidence that they've made the right moves with this race car to start this race.
And they were 3 wide right behind them, squeezing David Rudiman through the middle back at about 11th place. So there is no single filing here. On board Kenny Wallace. It's David Rudiman just ahead. Wallace in 16th place. Tim Fedowa just ahead of Rudiman in the NBS 24/7 chip.
You know, that's shot right there, and I think this was a lot of complaint that the cars had last night, is they're wanting to be just a little bit loose when you pick up the throttle, and that's what got Martin Truex Jr. His car just kept getting looser and looser and finally came around with it.
David Stremme is ahead of Jason Leffler, 9th place, 10th place or something. 10th place.
Saw them running right there with Robbie Gordon in the 55 car. Robbie started this season out, didn't really plan on running all the races, didn't plan on coming here, but he's found himself 5th in the points. With the next Cup season he's having, hey, this gives him confidence that he's still in this points battle in this Busch Series. See right in front of Robbie Gordon right there, the blue and green car, that's David Green, the 37 car, our points leader. Seems to always run good here. His 2 finishes last year, 1st and 2nd, and he knows you have to use a lot of patience at this racetrack.
Johnson City driver Brad Teague into the garage after 2 laps, where he'll join David Keith. Kyle Busch making a run on Stacy Compton. This will be for 6th place. Martin Truex moving up underneath J.J. Yaley up to 32nd after starting 39th.
And I know those guys are very disappointed to lose that race car, especially after going out and sitting on the pole. And they were so fast in happy hour. And I think, as we talked in opening, their biggest fear was starting at the back of the pack and working their way up through traffic, as he's having to do right now, as he's going to make it 3 wide midway through the backstretch. But I think when you've got a caliber like Dale Earnhardt Incorporated and Chance 3 Motorsports, I mean, you know they've got just as good a race car as a backup as they did for primary.
Coming to the front, Casey Kane as he battles Johnny Sauter as number 27. 3rd place. Casey Kane is a young man in a hurry.
Yes, he is.
Greg Biffle also started at the back, and he's moved around. The 43 of Aaron Fike. They saw something in the engine they did not like, and after conversation, Jack Roush flew in to have a look as they disassembled it this morning. And we're glad they did. They found something that needed attention. Jeff Hammond.
Mike, what happened was the same thing that occurred in Rockingham occurred here at Nashville, which was an epoxy inside the Oberg or the Mecca filter, which is a return line, which tells a lot of times engine builders if there is a problem. The engine builder decided, yes, there was a problem. They extracted the engine, took the oil pan off, and found the culprit inside of it, which led them to believe that the problem they had at Rockingham, which was a broken rod, was created by this part floating around inside the oil pan, not a connecting rod failure. So Jack Rouse was here today when that occurred. He was very happy they found the problem along with Greg Biffle, because Biffle said, I can't win a championship if I can't finish a race.
Yeah, the motor was running fine up to the point they put it in the garage area, but they had that filter they checked and they found that epoxy in there that knew that was a bad sign.
And it was a great heads-up call, because otherwise Biffle would likely not last the day. Bobby Hamilton Jr., it's the third race he's led this year, and he's now led in 6 Nashville appearances. All 6 races he has led.
Yeah, I mean, in 11 laps, he's already pulled out to a second-half lead over Johnny Benson. And all throughout the weekend here, in practice before qualified third, and in happy hour, he has been in the top 3. So, I mean, they've been fast since they unloaded yesterday morning.
12 laps under the green flag. In the books now in Nashville, Bobby Hamilton Jr. out in front of Johnny Benson. Welcome back to Nashville, where 17 laps are complete in the Pepsi 300. Derek Cope and Stanton Barrett have gone to the garage.
Johnny Sauter in the 27 car, he was running up in the top 3 or 4. It's like he lost it over in turn 1 and 2. And it's taken him the whole length of the backstretch just to gather back up. He's going to fall way back and lose several positions.
Yeah, last lap by, he was 4th. And now Sauter comes across the line, and he has slipped to 9th, so it cost him 5 spots, Larry.
It's such a line-sensitive racetrack. Hit your marks. This was down turn 1 and 2. You can see he was almost above the second groove. Car got very loose with him. He was fortunate to grab it up before he went up there and hit that white wall. Very close call.
Big field here. 54 cars came to compete for the 43 spots. So kind of sad to see 4 cars in the garage area very early in this event. Robbie Gordon now in 10th place. Matt?
Robbie Gordon trying to build on that 3rd place finish last week at Texas. Robbie came on the radio about 10 laps ago and said the water has climbed to 250, oil temperature 300. He then tried to fade out of traffic to pick up some clean air. Robbie says it only helped slightly, dropping the temperatures down 5 degrees on both water and oil. They're keeping an eye on that race car.
I tell you what, Matt, when I look at that race car come down the front stretch, though, I see no opening whatsoever in the valance below the front bumper. And on that top radiator opening, I see a tremendous amount of tape. You know, these crew chiefs, they get lured into because how much tape helps a race car. It helps plant the nose, helps it run down these long straightaways. And when you're out there in traffic making long runs, it makes the water and oil temperature both go up.
And it's a jacket and sweater day, so you would think with the ambient temperature fairly low, you wouldn't look for an overheating problem. Now, Greg Biffle had moved up well. Biffle started 42nd. He had come up to 24th place. And it looked like perhaps he had slowed a bit. But continues to hold at 24th.
Biffle comes in here 10th in the points. He's one of the guys running both series, the entire series.
Stanton Barrett has returned to the race after a trip into the garage. Andy Ponstein has taken his Yahoo car behind the wall. Let's pick up the race for 5th. Stacy Compton trying to come back to the front and battle with Kyle Busch. David Stremme passed David Green just a lap or 2 ago. You saw them. That was for 7th place. So this is the race for 5th.
You know, it's good to see Stacy in that 59 car, Stacy Compton, having a good run. Good qualifying effort. Qualified 7th yesterday. And these guys, they've not even led a lap this year. And I think a lot has to do with adding that second team of Robert Presley, making the swap from Chevrolet to Ford. I think it's just taken them a while to recover, especially from adding that second team.
Yeah, they've certainly had a full plate. Matt?
Kyle Busch, 3 times he's finished 2nd, trying to close the deal and score his first NASCAR Busch Series win. currently runs in the 5th position. Came on the radio, told his crew chief Lance McGrew, I'm doing exactly what we talked about before race and last night after final practice. I'm taking my time, being patient, and I'm just cruising right now trying to save that left front tire. Jeff?
Matt, right now I just saw Jack Rouse walk by me. The 60 car, Greg Biffle, is headed to the garage area with possible engine problems. And once again, talking to Junior Paxton, one of the tuners for the 60 car, says it looks like it's another one of those terminal days for the 60.
Of course, he had a great run going at Texas last week. I think he was running 5th when the engine let go there. And there you see that dreaded left-hand turn to the garage area. Not a good sign.
We saw the problem found in Biffle's primary engine. Not sure if the backup was configured the same way, but it certainly has a terminal problem. Jay Sauter has made a pit stop under green. Comes back into the race as Bobby Hamilton Jr. has opened up a 5.5-second lead over Johnny Benson. Captain Concrete, Jason Keller, runs at 3rd.
Picking them up, laying them down.
Welcome back to Nashville. Aaron's invites you to do the math. Ron Hornaday Jr. from 26 to 12 is our biggest mover. Martin Truex Jr. has picked up 14 spots from where he took the green flag, but Truex is in danger of falling into the clutches of Bobby Hamilton Jr. and going a lap down. Here's our race leader, and Martin only lacks about 1.2, 1.3 seconds of Hamlin catching him.
Yeah, I mean, for a guy coming in here second in the points, his team actually leading the owner points with Dale Earnhardt Jr. running that number at Daytona when he won the season opener. Again, I think he has a decent race car. It's just Bobby Hamilton Jr. is so good versus all of the competition. But Matt Yoakum, those guys could be in trouble. Martin Truex are going a lap down here early.
Trying to keep little Martin pumped up. Kevin Bono-Mannion on the radio telling him, we will fix your tight race car on our first stop. If we go a lap down, we'll try to keep the leader in close proximity so we can be the lucky dog. Already planning ahead, managing this race for young Truex.
Well, that's what you have to do. As the race unfolds, you have to adjust your strategy. And, of course, what Kevin Mannion's banking on there, if we do indeed go a lap down, and there you see it, it's very close, that maybe we can get the free pass with a pardon.
Two good battles here. The 22 of Jason Keller and the 59 of Stacy Compton. And right behind them, David Stremme and David Green are coming right into that picture. This is a race for 5th.
I've been watching that 30 car, David Stremme, and he may very well have one of the better race cars as well. Started back in 14th position. He's already worked his way up to 7th. And there you see he's just going to drive by Jason Keller. Looked like Jason Keller in the 22 got in there, and the car washed up with him. David Stremme took advantage of it. And there you see Martin Truex Jr. in the 8 car, our pole sitter, versus Bobby Hamilton in the 25 here, lap 35. He goes 1 lap down.
Now it's going to be a long way before Hamilton laps the next car. So Truex will hope to stay in that position in case a caution comes out.
And Mike, I know this is a different race car, but Matt Yoakum said that what Martin Truex Jr. is complaining about is tight. The car's not turning. Remember why he crashed his primary car? It was loose. Possibly they adjusted for that, maybe over-adjusted for what that other car was doing.
Michael Waltrip, Ron Hornaday. Michael's kind of struggled in qualifying the last few races of this Busch Series and had really hoped to get his program back on track today as he and Hornaday battle for 12th.
Yeah, Michael started back in 22nd position. Now he's up there to 12th. You know, we talked about in the beginning of the show what this weekend could do for some of these Nextel Cup drivers. When you look at drivers like Michael Waltrip in the 99, this new tire package that they seem to be struggling with on the Cup side, if they find something here, it very well could transfer to their Cup team.
Ron Hornaday, though, right behind Michael. His AC Delco Chevy has been moving up rapidly in the opening stages of this race, Matt.
The Blue Deuce has climbed all the way to 13th. He says the car has a slight vibration and is tight, but this is another team that's trying to gain a huge boost of momentum as we start to hit the races to go back to back to back. They want to go into the off weekend next week with a good run, still searching for their season's first top 5 finish.
Yeah, Matt, this team came over here and tested a few weeks ago, thought they hit on some things geometry, front-end geometry-wise. They complimented the new tire, but when they got back here, Ron did not like the way the car was driving. They had to go back to their old package.
You saw this battle for second as it unfolded. The 36 went up and almost slapped the wall in turn 2. The Pennsylvania driver Travis Geisler, he's gathered it back in. Larry, what I'm seeing here, I don't like. I'm seeing lap cars on the bottom of the track and some lap cars running way up high, and the leaders having trouble threading their way between lap cars on the bottom and lap cars up top.
They're not predictable.
Right.
And Jeff Hammond was telling me he attended the drivers' meeting, and they agreed at the drivers' meeting the lap cars would move to the high side, but we're not seeing the consistency of that.
And I think one reason is some of these cars are finding when they go to the high side, they get up in the loose stuff and all but lose control. So
No
they go
grip
back
whatsoever.
down. They go back down to the bottom where it's safe. Matt?
Mike, you're exactly right. About 10 laps ago, Kyle Busch told his crew chief Lance McGrew, he says there is a ton of loose rubber on the racetrack. Anytime anyone steps out of the groove, you're going to be in trouble.
Fourth place, Kyle Busch. Right there behind Bobby Hamilton Jr., Casey Kane, and Johnny Benson. Oh, Jay Keller, something's happened with that car.
That's about the second or third time we have seen that happen, that he just loses a lot of ground, but he's definitely in trouble as he heads down the backstretch. That car, I mean, look how fast. Ron Hornaday in the 2 caught him so fast going in the 3, he almost ran over him.
Wonder, Larry, if he got up trying to pass a car, got up in the loose stuff. And it took him a half a lap or so to get his tires cleaned off. Now
you see him, he's
weaving it.
wiggling.
Yeah,
When
trying
you
to
pick
clean
that
it.
stuff up, it makes you feel like you've actually got a flat tire.
Meanwhile, Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the U.S. Marines Ford has maintained a 5-second lead over Casey Kane. Greg Biffle out of the race with engine trouble. Gus Wasson has gone to the garage. Bobby Hamilton Jr. still leads, but 2 contenders have been to the pits. David Stremme and Martin Truex Jr., the pole sitter, who had to start his backup car in the rear of the field.
Yeah, and I think as we ride with Martin Truex Jr. right here in the 8 car, I think what happened with them, that car was just getting tighter and tighter. He had already been lapped, so why not come to pit road, Matt Yoakum, and go ahead and get those fresh tires, but they don't need a caution to come out and burn them.
Larry Mack, a number of adjustments, track bar, wedge, and air pressure to try to free up Martin Truex's race car. We've seen it a number of times this year. In fact, Moody Barker told me this morning he does not want to pit any sooner than he absolutely has. He doesn't really want a short pit like we've seen this year because so many guys have been bitten by it with a caution right after.
Truex is now 2 laps down. Randy McDonald is in the pits, and Andy Ponstein returns to the race after some time in the garage. Show you what happened to David Stremme. After he lost that tire, he nearly lost the whole car.
There you see the right front down, and the big concern was trying to get the pit road, still not lose a lot of time here under green, and that right front not come apart and tear that right front fender up. And he was running in the top 10. Now he's back in 29th position, 2 laps down as well.
Casey Kane has eaten into Bobby Hamilton Jr.'s lead by a second. It now stands at 4 seconds. Johnny Benson 3rd, Kyle Busch 4th, Stacy Compton 5th.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching Casey Kane. He is definitely every single lap. As there you see how the interval has shrunk to our leader, Bobby Hamilton Jr. Jeff Hammond, I believe Casey Kane, either Bobby Hamilton Jr. has throttled back or Casey Kane's that much better.
Well, Larry, it's kind of funny, but both these drivers seem like they're very happy with their race car. Bobby Hamilton talking to crew chief Harold Holley. He said the car is neutral. Harold's telling him just be smooth, hold a pretty wheel, and hit your marks. At the same time, Casey Kane calls in, tells his crew chief, hey, it's pretty sporty. It's pretty sporty. And right now, it's looking pretty sporty, guys.
Yes, it is. And right now, they're about, I'm going to say about 20 to 25 laps from that green flag stop. So we definitely know Martin Truex Jr. and David Stremme, they wanted to cycle through those green flag stops without a caution.
Hamilton Jr. up front. 2nd is Casey Kane. And 3rd is about to be a battle between Johnny Benson, Kyle Busch, Stacy Compton, and David Green. We'll be right back. Boy, for the smoothness of this concrete racetrack, there's been a lot of slip sliding around and a lot of changes on the leaderboard. And Casey Kane took the lead from Bobby Hamilton Jr. Then he goes for a slide. Stacy Compton has moved up to 3rd, taking David Green with him. Let's show you the lead change.
This was about 2 laps ago. There you see, turns down. I mean, he'd been running Bobby Hamilton Jr. down about 1/3 of a second a lap. He took the lead and was driving away, And then he gets in trouble, as we've seen a lot of other cars get in trouble. So Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25, he takes the lead back. Now he has a second three-quarter lead. We got trouble. Turn 4, caution is out.
Two-car wreck. Aaron Fike is one of them. Mike Wallace is number 4, is the other. The left front on Fike's car, minus all of its sheet metal. The Ollie's Bargain Outlet Dodge. They're going to have a few remnants from Monday's sale. And trouble on the Geico car as Mike Wallace gets on the horn to a claims adjuster. We'll be back to Nashville after this. Both Aaron Fike and Mike Wallace are okay. Walk to the ambulance under their own power. Pit stops, Jeff Hammond.
Well, right now, the 25 car, Bobby Hamilton, has already changed. Right side tire is going to freeze car up just a little bit, and they're down and away. While Casey Kane, almost a near one right there on pit road. Down to you, Matt.
Point leader David Green in, service almost complete. A little bit of trouble on the left front. Crew Chief Jason Ratcliffe with the lugs, trying to get the lugs on. Losing a lot of time. He's down and away. Slight air pressure adjustment. He was tight.
I tell you what, a good stop for Stacy Compton, that 59 car. They came in third, went out third. It's one of those days when everything's going good, it all goes good.
This could be their day. First caution of the day for Mike Wallace and Aaron Fike. They are okay after crashing in turn number 4. Welcome back to Nashville. Bobby Hamilton Jr. remains the leader after caution flag pit stops, but exiting his pit, Hamilton had 2 things to be concerned about. The first, as he's coming out of the pits and exiting, seems spinning the wheels, spinning the rear tires. This transition between concrete and asphalt, if you get this right rear out here on the asphalt with the left rear on concrete and they're still spinning, that's a good way to break an axle or rear end.
Yes, it is. And then the other close call right here is you see him exit the pits. You're going to see Casey Atwood in the 14 car go into his pits. A very near miss for our leader. Is that Bobby Hamilton Jr.'s fault? Absolutely not. It's normally on the spotter's shoulders, Jeff Hammond, to talk him in and out of those pits.
It really is, Larry. And I was watching Harold Hawley at that time because I was down there very close. Could not believe how quickly he came out of the pits and cut right up in front of almost the 14, in behind the 14 car, as close as you'd want to get to having a really bad wreck here on the pit road.
Ashton Lewis Jr. will get the free pass and be back on the lead lap. Did I mention Derek Cope has come back into the race after a long stay in the garage area. Next weekend, NASCAR on Fox returns. Speed Channel is your home for Bud Pole qualifying, 3 p.m. Friday Eastern Time. Then on Saturday, right here on FX, NASCAR Nextel Cup practice, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Then switch over to Speed Channel for the Kroger 250. And next Sunday on Fox Sports Net, NASCAR This Morning. Get your motor running at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And then on Fox, the Advanced Auto Parts 500 from Martinsville.
And there's 2 questions heading into Martinsville. Who will lose their temper? And can Jeff Gordon accomplish the same thing that Kurt Busch accomplished at Bristol? Can he get that 3rd win in a row at that short track?
Oh, there's a 3rd big question. What is Ward Burton doing involved with the Roanoke Ballet next weekend?
That'll be interesting.
Very. It's a racing themed event, and I just can't wait to see how that turns out.
That ought to be interesting.
Jeff Hammond.
Mike, you talking about the ballet. Well, a pretty good ballet goes on down here on pit road with these pit crews, and a lot of times the timing can be thrown off if you happen to have to remove one of the team members. Well, earlier today, the right rear tire carrier, Tim Bowers, had to go to the hospital because of a stomach flu. Well, Casey's brother, Cale, is now carrying on the 38 car today. It is actually his first time across the wall in a pretty important situation, and we're able to get the 38 car out in 2nd position. So pretty interesting charge right now for this young man in such a very pressure situation.
Yeah, I mean, that would be like going to a football game with an offensive line and all of a sudden at the last minute putting a guard or a tackle in there that has not even practiced with that line. That's about what it would be like.
I'll show you what happened to Casey earlier after he had taken the lead. Then he comes up on David Starr. He's going to go to the outside. Whoops.
Yeah, I mean, he was going to try to go by the lap car of David Starr. Looked like David Starr may have had a tire going down. You saw how much he was bottoming out, and he just got too far up out of the groove, and there you see he lost the lead as well as a lot of other positions to some lap cars.
The reason for the length of this caution, cleanup did not take that long in turn 4, but they have taken the jet blowers and blown the entire racetrack to try to get some of the dust and debris, and especially the worms, the rubber that comes off of the tread of these tires as they wear. Sometimes they're in little pellets, sometimes they're in these long worms that then adhere to the tires if you get up too high, and that car's not going to stick. It's going to slip and slide.
And we're looking at David Ruderman right there driving the 87 car, Joe Nemechek's car. We need to mention while we were at break before the caution a while ago that he had a flat left front. He had to come to pit road, so he's sitting there 2 laps down. So he's going to try to outrun Bobby Hamilton Jr. here in the beginning, which is going to be tough to try to get one of those 2 laps back, as we're going to go back racing.
Green flag for the restart. Hamilton wastes no time in slicing to the bottom of the racetrack. Now Casey Kane's going to try to clear the lap car into turn 1, and does. Compton and Busch on the outside, 3rd and 4th, trying to get past Ruderman and Stremme.
Of course, Ruderman's sitting there now 3 laps down, and Stremme's back there as well, 2 laps down in the 30 car.
And Stacy Compton's not going to get any help. Stremme comes up. Kyle Busch goes to the bottom.
If he's not careful, Stacy in the 59 car, not only is he going to lose the position to Kyle Busch, he's now side by side with Robbie Gordon in the 55. He's going to lose that position, as well as another one to Johnny Benson in the 1 car, and that 1 car had a great pit stop a while ago.
Robbie Gordon going after Kyle Busch, thinks better of it as they roll off into turn 3. Stacy Compton was doing the right thing up on the high side, didn't get a lot of respect from the lap cars, and ended up having the cars he was racing against, instead of them being behind him, working the bottom side and underneath.
Pretty impressed with Robbie Gordon in that 55 car, though. Again, not really planning on running this race a few weeks ago, qualified in 11th. He had never raced at this racetrack. They didn't test over here or anything, and now he's sitting here running up in the 4th position.
Kyle Busch goes under Stremme. That's not for position, as Stremme is a couple laps down. And here comes Robbie Gordon and Benson.
Johnny Benson in that 1 car, he's never raced here at this racetrack. They came over here and tested, as we see our battle for the lead heating up between Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25, Casey Kane in the 38. But Benson and that group did come over here and test a Nextel Cup car before Las Vegas.
4th place side by side, Benson under Robbie Gordon completes the pass as Casey Kane draws a bead. You see Benson has made the pass just before the corner, but he's going to have a way to go to catch these 2 leaders.
Hey, our 2 guys leading this race right here, Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25, Casey Kane in the 38. As we've seen throughout most of this race, these 2 race cars now, especially on fresh tires, are fairly equal. Casey Kane is almost content right now to run in the tracks of Bobby Hamilton Jr. because they have almost a set of full corner lead on Kyle Busch in the 5. Right at 2 seconds.
Michael Waltrip getting underneath Stacy Compton, and Clint Boyer, who's in the 21, moves up to 8th place. Ron Hornaday moves to 9th.
And we have a battle for the lead, a change for the lead. It's like Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25 did not get off turn 2 very good, and he just went ahead and yielded the lead to Casey Kane in the 38, so Casey will lead this lap. Pretty impressed with that 21 car right there, Clint Boyer, making his second Busch Series start. Didn't get off to a very good start last week at Texas, and he's going to run this car the races that Kevin Harvick does not run them, and now he's sitting up there solidly in the top 10 as his teammate Ron Hornaday in the 2 is right behind him, and Steve Shaw here in the booth was pointing out to me where Hornaday got such an advantage. Not a big surprise, was on that last restart.
Yep, that's his forte. Clint Boyer looking over Michael Waltrip. On Aaron's cam, looking back at the Reese's Chevy.
Well, Mike, you mentioned that as he's going to go underneath Michael Waltrip in the 99. You were talking about Michael earlier in the Aaron's Dream Machine here. Don't qualify that well at these Busch races, but when they drop the green flag, he definitely moves to the front.
3rd place. Kyle Busch has company. It's Johnny Benson's Miccosukee Dodge. You know, we talk about hometown heroes. Bobby Hamilton Jr. in this race has won. David Green, Nashville's kind of his adopted hometown, but one of my hometown heroes from Tennessee is with Matt Yoakum.
60 miles away from Clarksville, Tennessee, Jeff Purvis. Glad to see you back at the racetrack, Jeff.
Thank you, man. Glad to be here.
It's no wonder if we find you the track, you're going to be with James Finch. You guys have had a long association through the years.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time together at racetracks, and we've had a lot of fun. I'm just here trying to cheer him on.
How are you doing after that tough crash 2 years ago, Jeff?
I'm doing good. You know, of course, I'm not racing. I'm the average race fan wanting to race, but I'm doing real good. My family and friends have supported me through the whole thing, and I'm doing real good.
4 times a Busch Series winner. It's so great to see Tennessee and Jeff Purvis back at the racetrack. 4
wins in 186 series starts, 2 in 96, then Colorado in 2001, and Texas in 2002.
In that car right there that David Green's driving, a 37 car for Bruco Motorsports.
David Green, you see his day as it has unfolded while Johnny Benson makes the move on 18-year-old Kyle Busch. And that will move Benson back up into 3rd. So it's Casey Kane's chance to lead here in Nashville over Bobby Hamilton Jr., Johnny Benson, Kyle Busch, and Robbie Gordon. A new leader in Nashville and the second caution flag of the day. Bobby Hamilton Jr. went past the 38 for the lead. So Casey Kane comes up on the lap car of David Starr, who was up in the higher groove as the drivers had been instructed. Bobby Hamilton Jr. dropped underneath, took the lead. And then David Stremme had a wild ride up in turn 2. That's Hermie Sadler close behind, maybe too close.
Maybe got a little bit of help right there from Hermie in the 0-2. Brought the caution out. I want to tell you who this caution could have been a break for is we see David Stremme right there leaving pit road after changing tires. Almost looks like maybe Casey Kane was getting in trouble just a little bit in that 38 car. Jeff Hammond.
Larry Mack, what's going on here right now? The 38 car, Casey Kane, when he was passed by Bobby Hamilton Jr., thought he actually had a tire going down. Not too sure right now. He's trying to get his tires cleaned off as he's riding around behind Hamilton at this moment. But the guy who got in trouble a minute ago, David Stremme, did have a tire going down whenever Hermie Sadler got in the back of him. That was the reason for him bumping him. He had a right rear tire going flat.
Yeah, I mean, you could be right on Casey Kane, Jeff, the 38 car, because we just had, watching the replay when he was behind David Starr, he was up in that high groove. We've been talking about it the whole broadcast, picking up those rubber pieces on your tire make you feel like you got a flat tire, and that crew chief's saying, are you sure? Are you sure?
Well, he stayed out and will have the opportunity to pit under caution. Not exactly sure if there was contact between Sadler and the 30. There was no damage to the back of Stremme's car to indicate contact.
And if there was, I think the reason it would have been is because Hermie Sadler caught him so fast with him having a tire going down. And I tell you, this is where it can be kind of mind-boggling for the crew chiefs right now, is we've got 142 laps to go. Remember, they've already used 1 set of tires, so you only have 2 sets to go, and we've run about 20 laps. I'm going to say cars maybe, as we've got 19 cars on the lead lap, cars at the back of those cars may come in for 4 tires, but we may see some of our leaders stay out, and I believe that's exactly what's happening, except Casey Kane in the 38 car. He is going to be one of the few leaders that peels off, and a lot of these other cars are staying out.
Paul Menard, the rookie, will be the driver who gets the free pass around on the caution flag. Here's Jeff.
Casey Kane brings his 38 Dodge into pit road. Guys, he must not have liked those tires for sure, but looking here, it looks like the right rear is up. They are going to put 4 tires on it. Send him back out. No, he's only going to put a 2. Yep, 4 tires stop. No adjustments to the car. He says the car feels great. He just was not happy with that set of tires. He'd rather be safe than sorry. Right now, they're putting 4 tires on it. He's away.
But that pretty much paints him in a box. And in those 140 laps to go, roughly, he only has 1 set of tires that he can put on under caution. All he wants under green.
Ashton Lewis has stopped. So has Jason Leffler under this caution, and David Stremme and Tony Raines. Cleaning up the second caution of the day and about to go back to green in front of a really nice crowd here at Nashville Superspeedway, just east of the Music City. Coming up on Fox, Major League Baseball, Yankees, Red Sox, one of the most bitter rivals, and a classic playoff series and an offseason with huge moves. What will happen in one of the most anticipated regular season games in years? You'll find out live in prime time as Taco Bell presents Yankees Sox, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific.
By Casey Kane making that pit stop and coming to pit road to get 4 tires, he's going to give up 13 spots. So he's going to go from 2nd back to 15th. Also, we need to note that Kenny Wallace, Tony Raines, Ashton Lewis, along with David Stremme, they came in for 4 tires. Now, Jason Leffler in the 00, he was on pit road, but no tires, just adjustments and fuel. So he'll still have 2 sets left.
All right, they'll come around to complete lap 88 in the Pepsi 300. A little more than 1/3 distance. And Bobby Hamilton Jr. grabs a gear, gets going, and he'll easily clear Robert Presley to get down to the low groove and get away.
I'll say he grabbed the gear. I mean, he yanked Johnny Benson in that one car. But look, I don't think he had his tires cleaned off. A lot of these cars are in trouble. Their tires are not cleaned off.
David Green and Jake Keller are really climbing the hill. They're 3 wide in the middle of the pack. This is a mess.
I think so many of them that did not change tires, and we got a battle for the lead. Robbie Gordon in the 55 car, he's going to take the lead away from Bobby Hamilton Jr. And Kyle Busch in the 5 is coming as well. Bobby Hamilton Jr. still, I don't think he has his tires cleaned off.
Kyle Busch is going to get him. Johnny Benson, Clint Boyer. There is trouble on the 25.
Yeah, he's in big trouble. I believe it's more than tire problems right now. Jeff Hammond, what's going on with him?
Not too sure what's happened to Bobby Hamilton. What could be, Larry, as you were talking earlier about the worms. This is what we're talking about. This all over the tires when they're hot. This is what will gather on them, and when they go back to green, if they're not cleaned off really good, it'll make you think you've got a flat tire, and you've got to be really careful during those restarts to get your tires cleaned off.
Well, he's going to come to pit road, Jeff. He's got more problems. I think he may actually have a flat tire because he was not gaining any ground. He was about to get run over.
Number of possibilities, Larry. He got a huge jump on that restart. Could he have missed a gear? Could he have over-revved the engine?
There's a lot of things that could have happened right here. Looks like he may have had a left side tire problem, Jeff.
That's exactly what they're doing right now, is just changing the left side tires. He's got the 2 left side tires changed, and he's waiting. They're looking real intently right now to see if it was flat. It didn't look to me like he had a flat tire, Larry. It looked like it just had a lot of debris on it.
And he will lose 1 lap, making a pit stop under green.
Okay, this was a big break for Robert Presley in that 47 car. Now he's on the tail end of the lead lap, and he's pulled out to about 20 car lengths in front of our leader right now, Robbie Gordon, at 55. I tell you who's the best car right now, though, is we're looking at David Green and Casey Kane, is that 1 car of Johnny Benson. He's going to drive by Kyle Busch in the 5. This is a battle for 2nd place. 1 car just keeps getting better as this race goes on, Matt Yoakum.
Larry Mack, a slight air pressure adjustment on his last stop has helped fix that tight condition. The guy right behind Johnny B is Kyle Busch. He told his crew chief Lance McGrew under the last caution that he is going to school thanks to Johnny Benson. He said he notices that Benson uses a little bit different brake into the corner. He uses a lot of brake initially because I almost plow into him. I tried doing what he did, and it really helped my entry.
That's a lot of times drivers learn from watching other drivers.
Well, a lot of brake going into the corner is going to load that front end. You know, put some more mechanical grip there going into the corner. May help the car turn in.
The biggest thing you got to be careful using too much brake. As we look at this mess, this is Stacy Compton in the 59 in 11th, all the way back to about the 20th place right now. But using too much brake, if you're not careful, you'll build a lot of heat in that right front tire, cause the air pressure to go up, and it'll cause that car to start pushing, not turning.
And will that also overload that left front tire that everybody's worried about running down to the court?
And everybody's been having a lot of trouble, as we've already seen today, as we see Casey Kane, that 38 car, remember, came to pit road, gave up all those positions, and now he just drove by Stacy Compton for the 11th place.
Right behind this group, David Green's got to run. Jason Keller's got to run. Right behind them, it's a big stack going into turn 3. There they are. I mean, Green and Keller got off, and Tony Raines in that second yellow car got off the corner really well while, and it almost all log jammed up at the entrance to 3.
And that yellow car behind Stacy Compton, Kenny Wallace in the 23 car, he was one of those 5 or 6 cars that came to pit road as we ride with him here off turn 2 and got those 4 fresh tires. I think it's paying off for him right now.
Kenny Wallace is 13 for the lead. Johnny Benson has caught Robbie Gordon.
Well, Johnny looked like he wanted to tuck underneath Robbie Gordon in the 55 car right there down in 1 and 2, and Robbie Gordon shut the door. But Benson's been so strong off the corner, he'll get side by side and win the drag race getting off into turn 3 here. Now remember this 1 car right here, this is the team that David Stremme drove for last year and had 2 great runs here, two top 10 finishes.
So Benson to the lead. Meanwhile, Kenny Wallace coming off turn 4 is under a lot of pressure, and he's going to lose 2, maybe 3 spots. Ashton Lewis, Jason Keller, and then he gets in line just in front of David Green, but Green drops to the bottom, and David Green's going to pass Kenny. This is for 14th. Here comes Tony Raines.
And Tony in the 74, that was another one of the cars that got 4 fresh tires a few laps ago. Tony, of course, in this car for the rest of the year. Damon Lusk running the first 4 or 5 races. Tony got in the car at Bristol, and he will be in it for the rest of the year.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. back on track. Jeff Hammond, what was the problem?
After looking at the left side tires, Mike, they couldn't find any kind of problem with the pressures. Both tires up, a lot of debris on them. Was nothing said for a while. Harold Holly had got back on the radio and said, "You the man. You are the man. Don't worry about it. We can get this back. It happened to us a couple years ago. We'll get it back."
Well, there's no question, as good a car as he has, he can get it back. He's back in 24th position, 1 lap down. He'd like to get up there to where he's the first car lap down to get that free pass.
How about Clint Boyer in the 21? He has certainly made a nice comeback from that crash at Texas to run right up here now in the front 4. And your first 4 cars now are nose to tail.
And that had to be hard for him to handle mentally. Here's a race car that was leading the points with Kevin Harvick. They won Las Vegas. He gets in there and he said, he told me last week, I do not want to be the guy that keeps his team from winning the 2nd Owners Championship in a row. And here he comes back, and look at him. He's ready to go up there and battle for 2nd with these guys as he goes underneath Robbie Gordon in the 55 car for 3rd. He competed in an ARCA race here a year ago, ran very well, and I think that's one of the places that caught Richard Childress's eye about him.
So Boyer moves up to 3rd. Johnny Benson, former series champion and rookie of the year, has assumed the lead here in Nashville. At Nashville, Kyle Busch wants the lead from Johnny Benson and takes it away, heading off into turn 3.
And Clint Boyer says, if you're going to take the lead, I want to take 2nd place from Johnny Benson in that 1 car. Great run for Clint Boyer in this 21 car. You know, I believe our points leader is in trouble. He got up high in 3 and 4 a while ago, and he has slid back to 19th position. Matt Yoakum, I believe we have trouble on the points leader.
Larry Mack, he is falling fast back to 19th. He came on the radio 3 laps ago and said, I feel like I have a slow leak in the left front tire. Earlier he thought he had a flat left front, and then he cleaned it off, and then he felt like the tire was okay, but now he's radioing back, possibly slow leak in that left front, just trying to hold on till he can hit pit road or they get a caution.
Jeff, do you think that's the problem, or is it just something about the way these tires pick up loose rubber that's causing these drivers fits?
Mike, I really believe it's a lot to do with the rubber. The guys told me earlier today that when you get up out of the groove, if you miss it by as little as 12 inches, you cover that right side tire with debris and those worms, as they want to call it. The car just goes to pieces. You feel just like you cut a right rear down or a right front. You cannot drive it. You have to chase it up the racetrack, and when you do that, guess what? Then you cover the left side tires, which are about half worn out to begin with, and all of a sudden you think you've got 4 flat tires. It is a bear to drive that race car when you get out of the groove.
And if indeed that's the case, it can take you 3 or 4 laps to clean it up. There you see it right there, all the rubber coming off these tires up in the upper part of that racetrack. Kyle Busch, that 5 car, still car's getting pretty good the longer we go into this run right here. sat on the pole, won the ARCA race here last year. In fact, he led about 88 of the 120 laps of that race, I think, a year ago.
And the car he won with a year ago won here last night in the ARCA series. Mike Bliss, Johnny Sauter, 7th place. And Casey Kane trying to climb back up through. Let's go up to 2nd place, where Johnny Benson has given that up to Clint Boyer. And Boyer now sets his sail on the lead.
Johnny Benson actually just gave 3rd place up to Robbie Gordon in that 55 car as well.
Comers and goers in Nashville.
That's the way we always have it.
Matt?
Robbie Gordon just moved back up to 3rd. He said he feels like that the 5 car of Busch and the 21 are really better than his car is in the corner. That's where he feels like he's losing most of his time. Earlier we told you he was running hot, both water and oil temperature. As the 21 car of Clint Boyer tries to take the lead on young Kyle Busch, the temperature has come down if they pulled that tape off, as he works for that lead again as they come down the front straightaway, Mike.
Yeah, he's taking the lead away from Kyle Busch, and that opened the door for Robbie Gordon in the 55 car to try to get up there as well. But Kyle Busch in the 5 slammed the door, but look how loose he got right there coming off the corner.
And that's allowed Benson to close back in and bring Ron Hornaday with him. We may see a 5-car fight for the lead here in a minute. We are halfway in the Pepsi 300 at Nashville. You're watching NASCAR on FX. Welcome back to Nashville, where Clint Boyer has gone to the lead over Kyle Busch, Robbie Gordon, Ron Hornaday, and Johnny Benson. Trouble for Jason Keller, the Bear Creek Soups, number 22. He's going to make an unexpected stop on pit road.
Yeah, he was one of the cars still on the lead lap. Looks like they're going to change 4 tires on this car, and he could not go the distance here by making this green flag stop because we still have 106 laps to go. Casey Kane, now remember, on that last restart, he came in on that last caution about lap 82, he came in and got 4 tires, unlike most of the leaders staying out. Now, he has worked his way from 17th back up to 8th position, but let's just talk about the predicament he has right here. We've got 106 laps to go. Remember, he only has 1 set of tires that he can put on under caution, so I would think as he's battling Johnny Sauter here in the 27, that'll be for 7th, he would want to see this thing make some long green runs, where if we do get a caution late in the race, he can use that 3rd and final set of tires, where everyone else, like Johnny Sauter in the 27, they have 2 more sets of tires to use.
Yeah, Casey Kane would love to see each of those teams have to use a set, make a stop under green and cycle through. Ron Hornaday has been the big gainer of the day. Hornaday started back in 28th position. He has now come to 4th, and he keeps coming. It's under Hermie Sadler there, and carrying, and that's Stanton Barrett, and carrying Robert Presley along with him. Presley is now back 1 lap down once again.
But I talked to Butch Hilton, Ron Hornaday's crew chief, this morning, and they were very disappointed in that qualifying effort. I talked about them coming over here and testing and thinking they hit on something with some geometry. They had to undo it all. They knew after yesterday they were very, very good in the final practice session. And I think this is a team that has just struggled finding that combination with this new tire, finding out what Ron's looking for in this new tire.
David Starr slips up the racetrack, but like other drivers, he's able to hang on to it.
Just barely. David's back in 32nd position right now, about 10 laps down. Really been struggling here in his 2nd Busch Series start, 2004.
Jay Keller's unscheduled stop was for a flat right front tire, and he's back out. Rookie Clint Boyer. 2nd drive for Richard Childress. 1st one ended up in the fence in Texas. The 2nd one sees him in the lead here at Nashville. Welcome back to Nashville, where Clint Boyer leads in the Richard Childress Reese's number 21. Our Stacker 2 track fact shows that Boyer is running above the record pace for this race as he moves up to lap rookie Paul Menard. Kyle Busch is 2nd. Ron Hornaday has now moved to 3rd, passing Robbie Gordon. And here's the new 5th place car, Mike Bliss in the Rockwell Chevy. He got past Johnny Benson to move up in the field, but it wasn't pretty.
Coming off turn 4. It's like Mike Bliss just come off the corner there, and the car just drifts up just a little bit of damage to the left side of Johnny Benson's car, a little bit of damage to the right side. But Matt, I don't know that damage will hurt that race car.
Well, Larry Mack, earlier in the show, we documented Jason Keller's concrete success, a guy who was a big part of that success. Steve Addington, Mike Bliss's crew chief, they made significant adjustments to this race car on their first stop back on lap 61. Now he says the car's a little free early, but then goes to neutral after 20 laps. But the concern right now, the water temp is climbing steadily now between 230 and 240. They think there may be some kind of debris on that grill.
The other big concern is Casey Kane, who just went past him for 5th. Now that'll drop Bliss to 6th. Johnny Sauter's in 7th. Michael Waltrip has climbed to 8th. Johnny Benson's has now slid out of the top 10. Benson just lost 3 spots in 1 lap. Tim Fedewa went past him, Casey Atwood, and Jason Leffler. So here's Michael, who's one of the big gainers and all that, up to 8th.
And we talk about Johnny Benson. He's on pit road right now, and this is the green flag stops. These are scheduled stops. We knew they were going to come in the next 5 to 10 laps, so these will be for 4 tires and adjustments. Maybe that little bit of damage hurt him, though, Matt.
Wedge adjustment already completed for JB. They cleaned the grill, pulled the fender out a little bit, and make an air pressure adjustment. He also told his crew chief John Wilkes that the car is just bouncing way too much.
And that's not unusual on a concrete racetrack, as we see Ron Hornaday in that 2 car, Clint Boyer's teammate. He goes for 2nd place around Kyle Busch in the 5. You build up so much air pressure here on a long run that's a comment a lot of times the driver will have when you get the air pressure built up. We already talked about on a long green run here is the tires get the feeling like basketballs. I've heard him say feels like I got 100 pounds of air in my tires.
Trying to get past Tony Raines. Hornaday looks to the inside. This got to be a tough one for Ron Hornaday. We have documented throughout the season how he and the 21 have virtually switched paint jobs onto all of the equipment so that Hornaday could have a chance to run for this championship. And here in the middle section of this race, Hornaday's fought his way up to 2nd. That's the good news. The not so good news for this team is it's the other car with rookie driver Clint Boyer that is the 1 spot in front of him.
But I tell you, that Ron Hornaday in the 2 car, which would be teammate to this car, he is definitely coming. He could have one of the fastest cars on the racetrack right now. Right here before these green flag stops, you see David Green come to pit road, Ashton Lewis, Tony Raines, Paul Menard, Mike Bliss in the 20. Right here makes his 4-tire stop. And these are coming with about 90 laps to go in this race. We know we can't make it from here. We still have 1 more stop to come.
It would sure surprise me if we didn't have 1 more caution flag.
It has all the makings of that. Casey Atwood in the 14 car, Martin Truex Jr., our pole sitter in 8 car, making pit stops.
David Green taking the gas can down pit road. He'll be back.
Yes, he will. That will be a very, very costly mistake for our points leader.
And it may, let's see where that can's going to end up at the exit of pit road. I believe the official may be able to get to it.
Yeah, the problem is during these green flag stops, it's out there right in the middle of where these cars are going to be leaving pit road. But the penalty will be dragging equipment away from your pit box.
Tough break for the point leader, David Green. And Kyle Busch is in, Matt.
Huge gobs of rubber hanging from that the left rear quarter panel, Mike, as they make the tire change in the right. Now left side, he is done. He is down and away.
There will be no caution for David Green dragging that fuel can down pit road. The official was able to retrieve it without going out there at risk of oncoming cars. Johnny Sauter in and out, Robbie Gordon, all of these green flag stops. Ashton Lewis had to come in a little earlier. He had a cut tire a little earlier than planned. Martin Truex in and out. Kenny Wallace is in. Travis Geisler, Mike Garvey making stops.
Now, we've been talking about it. This is a set of green flag stops that Casey Kane in the 38 was wanting to see him. But now he's probably going to get the lead away from the 21 and the 2 car when they make their green flag stops. But Mike, he can't stay out there too long on those tires. He wants to make that pit stop under green, because if it comes under caution, he'll have to use his 3rd and final set of tires.
Ashton Lewis got a drive-through penalty because he failed to make the commitment line, and in the grass is Stacy Compton, and locking up the brakes, Ron Hornaday. Compton slid through the cones trying to come on pit road, missed it. That'll be costly. Now, Hornaday got through okay, but really had to lock up the brake as he got onto pit road with carrying the maximum possible speed and did it. So we stay under green.
This is a very tricky pit road to get on. It's right in the middle of turn 4. These guys have been out there for about 50 or 60 laps running 160 miles an hour. It can sneak up on you. Matt Yoakum, I think you're in the 2-car pit.
Last top 5 finish for Ron Hornaday. Phoenix last year trying to knock that down today. Get a win. Tires going on the left side. Solid stop so far by the Blue Deuce crew, and he's down and away. 17.1 seconds.
Hornaday's last win last May at Nazareth, Pennsylvania.
But Mike, we've been following all year long in the Busch Series and Nextel Cup Series. Races are being won and lost by mistakes on pit road. We've seen the mistake with David Green, our points leader, leaving his pit box with the fuel can in, and now the mistake by Stacy Compton in the 59 car, who finally gets to pit road, missing pit road completely on the green. Very costly mistakes for 2 good race cars.
Here's Jason Leffler down pit road with a flat left front tire. Caleb Holman makes his pit stop.
But if you're going to have a flat tire, have it when you're about to make a green flag stop. Not that costly.
Car in defense, turn 4.
Bobby Hamilton Jr., I believe, the 25 car.
It is, and it'll bring out the caution.
Caution is out. Caution is out.
And Casey Kane may get the break he needed. In fact, it's going to be a big break because I don't think Clint Boyer has stopped. We're going to have just a handful of cars left on the lead lap.
Yeah, the bad news for Casey Kane, as I just had said, he's now going to have to use his final 3rd set of tires here with a bunch of laps to go in this race.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. slides up the hill in turn number 4 and brings out the race's 3rd caution at lap 142. Caution comes out at Nashville for the 3rd time today, just as we were toward the end of a round of green flag pit stops. And since one of the cars that had not stopped was the race leader, everyone who had stopped gets pinned 1 or 2 laps down. So the situation now is that there are only 3 cars on the lead lap. This one, Casey Kane, Clint Boyer, who was leading at the time of the caution, and Michael Waltrip. Then Kyle Busch will get the free pass for being the first car 1 lap down. Let's have a look at pit stops.
This is our 3 lead lap cars right there. The 21 car, Clint Boyer in the top, Casey Kane in the 38, Michael Waltrip in the 99. The 99 group did beat the 38 crew out, so Michael will go from 3rd to 2nd.
The driver who probably came out on the worst end of it, other than Hamilton, who brought up the caution, will be Ron Hornaday, who will be one of those cars a lap down. Now, some of the drivers are electing not to pit, so they will line up at the tail end of the lead lap. Today's race is brought to you by Smooth Busch Beer and Easy Drinking Busch Light. Busch, proud sponsor of the NASCAR Busch Series. Matt?
The 5-car Kyle Busch in, getting a set of sticker tires, no adjustments. Lance McGrew told the guys, we are in no rush. Just make sure you hit all the lugs, get them tight, just pack that fuel cell.
Well, the race on the restart will be to see who can get back on the lead lap here in Nashville.
That's when the plot thickens.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back to Nashville. We're working the 3rd caution of the afternoon. Mike Joy with Larry McReynolds. Darrell Waltrip has the weekend off. Had a nice dinner with him in Franklin with he and Stevie last evening. But Bobby Hamilton Jr., who's another of the hometown Nashville heroes, had a problem up in turn 4. You'll see him come in from the right side of the screen. Up there and into the wall. Jeff Hammond, what happened to Bobby Jr.?
Mike, his days continue to get kind of bad as far as Bobby Hamilton's concerned. A right rear tire going down forced Bobby up the racetrack, and he brushed the wall with the right front also. But fortunately for he and well as crew chief Harold Holly, the car is not done for the day. They worked on it, brought it back down pit road several times, had to put a bungee cord to help hold the left side and the right side tailpipes up because they would have been broken loose. But they feel like, hey, we can still get a good finish out of the day and keep it close, according to Harold Holly. Always trying to pump his driver up. And another crew chief down there on pit road that doesn't need to pump his driver up happens to be Ricky Byers, who's the crew chief on the 21 car, our leader, Clint Boyer. His guys came down pit road, ripped off one fantastic pit stop. But more importantly, Larry Mack, when they took all 4 of these tires off, they really look good. So they've got a lot of confidence right now in this young man driving the 21 car.
Yeah, I mean, that's a sign of a good handling car. But remember now, he has to show some patience with only 4 cars on the lead lap. He's going to restart this race about halfway in the field. We continue to get emails and questions from fans that don't understand why the leader of the race restarts the middle of the pack. All of those cars in front of him made green flag pit stops. They were behind the leader. But when the leader elected to come to pit road, they go by the leader, so so it puts them on the tail end of the lead lap when this race restarts.
And since they're not allowed to pass the pace car, they can't come all the way around for the restart. So that means Ron Hornaday, Robbie Gordon, and Johnny Sauter will be starting in the outside lane in front of the race leader when we go green. It's been a wild day on the concrete jungle here at Nashville Superspeedway. Bobby Hamilton Jr. dominated the early stage of the race. Kasey Kahne took the lead, slid up in the marbles and lost it. Put Hamilton back out in front. Then he's shaking, trying to clean off his tires. Couldn't do it. The field streams by him, takes him out of contention. Kyle Busch and Kurt Boyer, two rookies, run for the lead with Robbie Gordon in tow. Mike Bliss and Johnny Benson get together while discussing third place. And to bring out this caution, Bobby Hamilton Jr. gets up in the wall in turn number 4. So rookie Clint Boyer is our leader, ahead of Kasey Kahne and Michael Waltrip.
Speaking of Michael Waltrip, he just came to pit road for fuel only. I think I know why. Jeff Hammond, 75 laps to go, didn't give up a whole lot. He may can go the distance from here.
You're exactly right, Larry Mack. You never say never, especially even in this division. From time to time, you got to look at how many different ways you can win a race. Well, right now, this team is looking, along with crew chief Jerry Baxter, how they can get Michael into victory lane, well, possibly on fuel mileage. So coming back down on pit road and topping his car off gives him a second chance to maybe get this race won a different way besides just being fast. Another thing, guys, you keep talking about how important it is for Clint Boyer to be patient. Well, they've got somebody upstairs, I believe it may be able to help him a little bit. He's a veteran Busch driver, as well as the son-in-law of Richard Childress. Mike Dillon is up spotting for him today, and they're hoping that Mike Dillon will be able to coach this young rookie into victory lane today.
I'll tell you who else, as we look at the spotters right there. Yes, of course, the 21 Busch car when it first started running back in the late 90s, Mike Dillon was the driver for that car. But Kasey Kahne and David Green as well must think they can make it from here with about 74 laps to go, because now they come to pit road and top off with fuel. And again, Kasey Kahne, remember, we want to keep talking about this. If we get a caution in these last 74 laps, he has no tires that he can put on under caution. He has used all 3 sets.
J.J. Yaley and Robert Presley also stopping to top off the tank. And here comes Bobby Hamilton Jr. back in for a little more remedial repair. Now, questionable on fuel is the number 5 of Kyle Busch. Matt?
Lance McGrew talking to Kyle Busch on the radio. He's actually telling him about their fuel as we speak. Lance, how close are you?
We're like 5 laps he's blabbering in here. So we're like 5 laps short, but we usually figure our mileage a little conservative, so we may be okay. It's kind of hard to tell. A lot of the guys that are in front of us are coming in and topping off. We can't do that with the, you know, that's kind of the Ryan Newman rule to add it on to the Lucky Dog, but we're fine. That Lowe's Monte Carlo's been doing awesome. All the support for Pell and all the guys. It's just been a good weekend altogether. A little lackluster on the qualifying effort, but when you get a couple poles, you start competitive greed takes over. You want to do it every week, but we're fine. I'm looking forward to the rest of the race.
In fact, Lance told me that he feels like this team is right on schedule. His driver very patient on the racetrack, but impatient for a win and great results. But they continue to show it, Mike, week in and week out.
All right, 8 more drivers have come in to top off, and Hamilton Jr.'s problems continue with the hood up and working on that car.
And what Matt and Lance McGrew's talking about as we watch Bobby Hamilton Jr.'s group go to work is after Ryan Newman was the first car that got the free pass back at Dover when this rule was installed, he just kept coming to pit road and topping off because he was going to start at the tail end of the longest line. He won the race. So NASCAR now says you can come and make a normal pit stop for fuel and tires, but that's it. No more coming to pit road to topping off. But if we indeed ran enough cautions to buy those laps, he can make it from here.
All right, Clint Boyer, you see, is the 4th car in line. Ahead of him on the tail end of the lead lap, Restart King Ron Hornaday, Robbie Gordon, and Johnny Sauter, then our race leader. And that's all because of who stopped and who didn't under this caution flag. So we're back under green at lap 154. Good, clean restart.
He's got a good start, even though he's in second position on the racetrack right now. Robbie Gordon in the 55 car. He's going to go over and challenge Ron Hornaday.
Patience, never mind. Boyer takes it 3 wide.
But look at the leader right there that was leading the race, Ron Hornaday. He gets tapped from behind right in front of the entire field.
Michael Waltrip got him. And here comes everybody. Now, Hornaday was leading the pack, but not leading the race.
He was trying to stay on the lead lap, the tail end lead lap. So was Robbie Gordon. In my book, those guys were not showing a lot of patience right there, though.
Nobody was.
Now, Robbie Gordon at 55, he will get back on the lead lap because he was in front of the leader, but there you see all the damage to Michael Waltrip in the 99 car. He was running in the second position.
Yeah, he got into Hornaday, whose car was spun and stopped. And the 10 car also has a lot of damage, Gus Wasson.
As we always say, cautions breed cautions, especially when guys are trying to stay on the lead lap and trying to get back on the lead lap.
Wasson's able to get away with what looks like minimal damage. He replaced Jason Schuler for this weekend's race in the number 10. Michael Waltrip, after coming all the way up into the top 3, trouble on the left front because he could not avoid Hornaday. Let's see what happened here coming out of turn 4, Larry.
Yeah, this should be right in the middle of turn 3 and 4 as they head off into the corner. Take a look at it right here. There you see Robbie Gordon at 55 had already got in the back of Ron Hornaday in the 2 car. There you see him sideways. Johnny Sauter going to the bottom. There's our leader, Clint Boyer. And there's where Michael Waltrip in the 99 just wasn't sure which way he needed to go with cars on the high side, low side. Gets a lot of damage to the left front.
Tough break to put out the 4th caution of the afternoon here in Nashville. Michael Waltrip making repairs as he was unable to avoid a spinning Ron Hornaday. On the first lap of green after the restart.
Clint Boyer, our leader in the 21, made it through. Michael Waltrip did not make it through, running in second.
Here's the Taco Bell cam.
Best thing to do is just almost stop. Then you know you won't get in trouble.
You saw Hornaday trying to smoke the tires and turn around. Let's mention that Johnny Sauter and Robbie Gordon were ahead of the leader when that caution flew, so they're back on the lead lap. Jeff?
Guys down there in Michael Waltrip's pit, he came in, had pretty severe damage to that left front tire and fender area. But more importantly, NASCAR as well as Goodyear worked with the team to allow them to change the left front tire because if you remember, they were out of tires. They had no more new tires they could put on, so they had to get an approval. The damage to the left front was severe enough. They said change it for safety's sake. They put a new tire back on, and they've got Michael Waltrip back out on the racetrack.
Yeah, Jeff, I talked to Brian Dehart, competition director for the Busch Series this morning to get an understanding about that. And what he told me is if the wheel is damaged, where they think it's a safety problem, they will let you change it, or if the tire is completely flat. What I was questioning was Casey Atwood last week at Texas spun and flat spotted the tires. Brian said that does not justify it. Has to be a wheel that's not safe or a tire that's completely flat. Then you can only change that particular tire.
Now, as the field came around and got the caution, Kyle Busch's number was up on the black flag board. The reason was he was the free pass car on the last caution. He did not start at the tail end of the longest line, however. He may have been confused by cars making pit stops on the 1 to go signal. They came out behind him, but no matter. When you are the free pass car, you must restart at the tail end of the longest line. Doesn't matter how many cars pit on the last lap of caution. So if we can sort this out, Clint Boyer is still our leader, the 6th different driver to lead today. Casey Kane is 2nd. Kyle Busch came across 3rd. Johnny Sauter, Robbie Gordon, Michael Waltrip are the lead lap cars, and Johnny Benson gets the free pass.
And what Johnny Benson in the 1 car has to be careful, since there's some cars behind him, that he gets behind those cars before the restart, or he'll be in jeopardy of the same problem that Kyle Busch in the 5 had.
And that line of lapped cars is very, very long. Let's try it again. To begin lap 160 of 225 here in Nashville, rookie Clint Boyer, who leads in only his 2nd NASCAR Busch Series start, hauls him off toward turn 1 on the restart.
Jason Keller in the 22 car now had a problem early. He's actually 2 laps down. He's trying to get one of his laps back. He's going to pull in front of our leader, Clint Boyer, to get back on the tail end of 1 lap down. But that was a lucky break for Kyle Busch, and we had a caution right after his number was posted. If he had to make that pit stop under green for that penalty, he would have went at least a lap down. Now he's sitting up there in 3rd place in that 5 car. So that was a very lucky break for him.
So now 7 cars are on the lead lap. 1 lap down are Mike Bliss, his teammate J.J. Yaley, the 00 of Jason Leffler, Ron Hornaday, the 22, which is Jason Keller. Matt?
About a 10-minute delay debate with NASCAR officials, Lance. Describe all the confusion.
Well, they gave us a penalty because we weren't at the tail in the longest line on that restart. But you can only check up so much if the guys don't pass you. Like, well, I don't understand what you're supposed to do. I accepted the penalty. We went ahead and served our pass-through under caution. But then they wanted me to start at the tail in longest line again, and that's not how the rule states. The rule is if I do my pass-through, I just happen to be under caution, we can get our position back on the racetrack. So that was my whole argument, which they wound up giving it to us, so I'm happy.
He's happy. Ron Hornaday is not. The 2 has come to pit road and gone behind the wall for repair.
And that's a shame. This team needed such a good run, and they had it going today. And just the real turning point was when they made their green flag stop, and the caution came out and burned them, and they're up there trying to get back on the lead lap, get involved in a wreck.
Leaders going by Tim Fedowa, who's in the NBS 24/7 car, that series, which documents the Busch Series drivers, some of them from checkered flag to green, what it's like for a week in the Busch Series.
Robbie Gordon, that 55 car, remember, he just got back on lead lap, and he just drove by Johnny Sauter in the 27 car. That was for 4th position. And Robbie Gordon now sets its sights on Kyle Busch in that 5 car.
Yeah, Sauter's car has faded a little bit after this last restart.
And right now, the car right behind them, Mike Bliss, the red and white 20 car, he is 1 lap down. He would be the car that would love to see a caution right now. He would get his free pass.
And here comes Sauter's teammate David Green once again today. The point leader trying to fight his way to the front. Green, the defending champion of this race. The bad news is he's 2 laps down, but the good news is he's in 12th place, which for being 2 laps down is not bad.
Not at all.
Ahead of him, one of the 1 lap down cars is Jason Leffler in 9th place. Matt?
Maybe some good things are starting to happen for Leffler. He came on the radio and told Booty Barker, his crew chief, he said the wheel is just vibrating so bad it's vibrating out of my hands. He pitted. He had a worn out left front tire that was going flat. Restarted back at 11. He did pit, topped off. Booty Barker says they are good to go on fuel. Even though they are a lap down, they're going to try to play the waiting game fuel-wise to see if they can make it pay off.
Sometimes that's the way you've got to play it. But when I go back up to Robbie Gordon now battling Kyle Busch, as we see a battle heating up for the lead between Clint Boyer and Casey Kane, here's Robbie Gordon in 55. One thing he has going for him right now is on that last caution, he came to pit road and got full fresh tires. So his tires is a little fresher than Kyle Busch in the 5, as well as our 2 guys leading the race.
The fellow who's hanging on by his fingernails right now, though, is Jason Keller. On the restart, he got well out ahead of Clint Boyer, but the leaders are coming for Keller as they come off turn 4, and as Gordon battles Kurt Busch. This is the best battle on the racetrack, 3rd place. Kyle Busch. Did I say Kurt?
I do it all the time.
Well, he was that close to the front, he looked like Kurt.
Especially on a concrete racetrack.
That's right. Rookies doing well here in Nashville. Clint Boyer leading. Kyle Busch, another rookie, in 3rd. Things have been busy here in Nashville. Clint Boyer is our leader at 172 laps over Casey Kane and Kyle Busch. While we were away, Casey Kane gets a really good run on Boyer and drops down to take the lead. Now that allowed Jason Keller to get away just a little bit. But then as the leaders caught Keller and Jason tried to give them room, Keller gets a little bit too high up into the marbles, and that gives Boyer an opportunity to retake the lead.
Right here coming off turn 4, there was another lap car there. I think that was Andy Ponstein in the 39 car on the bottom. And there Boyer says, no, you can have the lead for a little bit, but only a couple laps. I want it back.
And look, you see there, well, Keller got up in the stuff and fell off the lead lap. Jeff?
Mike, right now, what's going on with Clint Boyer, more importantly than anything else, we talked about Mike Dillon and how important he may be for this young man getting to victory lane today. Listening and monitoring what's going on between these two guys is just so impressive because of the fact that when he lost the lead, he overdrove turn 3 and the car kind of slid up and he didn't get off turn 4 like he needed to. Casey Kane passed him. Mike Dillon said, look, you've got to slow it down. You've got to ease it in the corner and drive off the corner if you want to get back to the lead. Clint Boyer buckled down, did what he said, took the lead back, and as he cleared him, Dillon said, I want to see the 38 car catch you going into the next corner, and I want to see you drive away from him. And that's exactly what Clint Boyer is doing right now. He's listening to his teacher and hitting his marks.
And Larry, that's a hard thing for a short track driver to do because there aren't many short tracks in this country where you carry it in easy to the corner and come off hard like they're trying to get him to do here.
No, and even though Clint Boyer in the 21 has done a lot of testing, remember, this is only his second Busch Series start. But I want to go back to Jeff a second. Jeff, more importantly, we have a feeling that Casey Kane in the 38 can make it on fuel. Can that 21 group make it on fuel?
They're feeling pretty confident right now, Larry, that they've got him set on go the remainder of the way. At least according to Ricky Byers, he gave him the thumbs up earlier. Maybe he's playing possum, maybe he's not. Maybe he's just trying to play the waiting game to see how things kind of play out. But they're pretty confident here in the 21 group, as well as the 38. They feel like they've got to measure the 21 car, and they're willing to kind of pace themselves behind this rookie and take advantage of him at the end.
Yeah, because they're one of the few cars on the lead lap that not come to pit road and top off as Casey Kane, Michael Waltrip, and Kyle Busch, some of those other cars have done.
48 laps to go. We'll see if Clint Boyer can hold on and win in only his second start, or whether it'll be Casey Kane, Kyle Busch, Robbie Gordon, Johnny Sauter, or who. Emporia, Kansas driver Clint Boyer, just 24 years old and in only his second Busch Series start. And what a day he is having, but he has a mirror full of Robbie Gordon right now. Going off into turn number 3, Gordon has caught the race leader.
And I think the difference is the fresher tires that Robbie Gordon has on that 55 car versus Clint Boyer. They are about maybe 10 or 15 laps fresher than the 21 car.
Robbie Gordon headhunting and looking low. Now Gordon also drives for Richard Childress, but that's on Sundays. Saturdays, Robbie Gordon drives this Fruit of the Loom 55, which he also owns.
That Richard Childress supplies the engines for as well. And I think we about know when Robbie Gordon in the 55 car pitted that he can make it to the end. The question, can that 21 car go the 81 laps, which would include some cautions? Can he go that far on fuel should this stay green for about the next 40 laps?
How about it, Matt?
Mike, Robbie Gordon, two things he said on the radio. First, he says his car is tight again. The second thing, he said, I did not mean to get into Ron Hornaday at all. You mentioned about that they are corporate teammates at the RCR stable. He says, you guys just do not realize how much trouble I'm probably in when I get back to the big house on Monday. RC and I are probably going to have a meeting. But meanwhile, the 5 of Kurt Busch, he is fading. He said, my car just will not turn when I enter turn 1.
And of course, Matt, what Robbie's talking about is when he got in the back of Ron Hornaday a while ago, both of them trying to get back on the lead lap. Ron Hornaday, the 2 car, is a Richard Childress car.
Still hot for the lead. Robbie Gordon on the tail of Clint Boyer. So these are not teammates in the true sense of the world, but there is a lot of go-between between Robbie Gordon's Busch team and the Richard Childress team.
And of course, if his car is tight, I think the reason he did just drive by the 21 car of Clint Boyer is when you get behind the car, you lose all the front downforce, just makes the car push worse, won't turn.
We'll keep an eye on this, but fuel mileage may well be the determinant of the outcome here. Here's our rejuvenating moment of the race, brought to you by Just for Men hair color. More than a hair color, it's the Rejuvenator. It's that pit stop under caution for Casey Kane to top off for fuel. That rejuvenated his chance to win today. But Casey Kane has had difficulty with some of the lap traffic. That's Andy Ponstein just ahead, leaving almost enough room to get by.
Well, I'm getting a message right now that NASCAR is finally saying the 39 car Andy Ponstein is too slow to take him off the racetrack. And you know, I know these guys are trying to make a living, but for Pete's sake, you're 40 laps down and you're racing the guy that's in second place. That's ridiculous.
Was he racing him or trying to find a place
just trying
to hide?
get out of the way.
Right. Clint Boyer and Robbie Gordon driving around like they're welded together with a tow bar here at Nashville. 30 laps to go at Nashville Super Speedway. Clint Boyer would not be the first driver to win in his first or second start. 4 drivers won their first start in the series, but they were all accomplished Cup drivers at the time. Joe Ruttman, Ricky Rudd, Terry Labonte, and Dale Earnhardt in their first race in what is now called the Busch Series. However, the least number of starts before scoring a victory as a rookie, that record is held by Johnny Rumley and Scott Riggs. Rumley won Hickory in 1993. Riggs won here in Nashville in 2002, and in each case, it was their 7th start of their Busch Series career as rookie drivers. Clint Boyer is trying to win this in only his 2nd start. But Larry, the question is, could Robbie Gordon have passed him? And if so, why not?
Yeah, I don't know, because he's actually, Mike, starting to fade just a little bit as Clint Boyer, our leader in the 21's, back in traffic. And these guys have almost a 6-second lead on 3rd place Kyle Busch. So should we stay green? I think the question is, can Clint Boyer in the 21 make it those final 81 laps on fuel or not?
And does Robbie Gordon know that's the question? And is he just saving his stuff until he needs it?
I would be willing to say Robbie Gordon's crew has been telling him that possibly the 21 will not make it. But you talk about starts, Mike, we're talking about Clint Boyer and the 21 being in a position to win in only a 2nd Busch Series start. Robbie Gordon, you talk about experience behind him. Busch Series starts and Cup Series starts combined, there's 149. There's quite a bit of experience behind him there.
Yes, it is. Veteran Robbie Gordon, can he take the lead from rookie Clint Boyer, or will another rookie, Kyle Busch, work his way to the front? This morning we wondered, with the weather, would we ever race at all today here in Nashville? And now we're just 21 laps from the checkered flag. Clint Boyer trying to be the Busch Series driver who, since this series started in 1982, won in the fewest career starts as a rookie.
In about the last 5 or 6 laps, Mike, he has pulled away from Robbie Gordon at 55 by almost a 1.5 seconds. It's almost like either Robbie Gordon's car is going away or he just is confident that 21 car will not make it. How about it, Jeff Hammond?
Well, Larry, it's very interesting the way you put that right now. He is driving away from the 55 car, Robbie Gordon, because of the fact that he's hitting his marks by the instruction of Matt Dillon, the spotter. Once again, he is doing a masterful job of telling Clint, as you see the lap cars, my friend, either follow him through the corner, but do not, I repeat, do not get high trying to pass him on the outside. The last time you just about got up in the stuff, and you know what's going to happen if you get that long in your tires. As he goes through the corner right now, you watch him follow the lap down cars through that corner. Now he's clearing them up off the corner, coming down the front straightaway here. They are doing a great job of pacing this young man, trying to get him to victory lane here today.
Kenny Wallace was just in for a pit stop. He had pitted at lap 136, and there were 2 caution flags in between, so this was not a case of being low on fuel. Now, on the other leader, Robbie Gordon, here's Matt.
Robbie was asking his team for lap times, a comparison between the 21 car and his 55, but he is slowly fading. He says, I believe I have worn my right front completely out, as he tries to reel in that leader. Meanwhile, David Stremme told me this weekend that he had a long talk with Clint Boyer. He said, you're splitting the schedule with Harvick. I did that last year. I can tell you how difficult it will be, especially when you run well. It will be very frustrating to have to get out of that race car for a few races, but you just have to hunker down and be patient.
Well, it was frustrating for him last week too, Matt. First time in that car and crash it at Texas. He's rebounded to lead and do a great job here. The other driver who, as a rookie, crashed last week in Texas in a good car was J.J. Yaley. who drives for Joe Gibbs in the number 18. And Yaley has rebounded well in this Vigoro Home Depot car. He got lapped early in the race, but Larry, he's fought his way back up into the top 10.
Yeah, he was one of those cars like Clint Boyer and Michael Waltrip, Casey Kane, that had not made that green flag stop. Even though he went lap down very early in the race, he benefited from that caution coming out by not making that green flag stop.
Yaley, a second-generation sprint car star from Phoenix. His dad, Cactus Jack Yaley, a star of the Western Sprint Car Circuit and runs some World of Outlaw races. We saw both of them a lot in winter heat in open wheel action 10 or so years ago. Doesn't seem like that long, but he's had a great career and a great rise like many open wheelers to stardom. And Robbie Gordon, let's not forget what a great road racer Robbie Gordon was, and open wheeler, including IndyCar driver, before he came over to NASCAR.
And let's talk about his agenda right here with Mike as we have 15 laps to go. He comes in here 5th in the points. He don't like what he feels with that right front tire, but he has an 8-second lead on the 3rd place Kyle Busch, thinking that possibly the leader of the race right now, Clint Boyer, may run out of fuel. He just needs to baby this thing, and his crew chief, Bob Pimple, just needs to keep him posted where Kyle Busch is. Don't worry about the 21 car right now.
Yeah, you can't beat him. Control what you can control, which is your own destiny.
Now there you see Casey Atwood in the 14 just driving by Robbie Gordon. Casey Atwood was one of the cars, a lot like Kenny Wallace, that just came to pit road and got 4 fresh tires.
Seeing several pit stops. David Stremme has made a couple, and now he comes back onto pit road once again. It's been a tough day for Stremme. He is now 12 laps down as Clint Boyer goes past the 18 of J.J. Yaley. Now, Robbie Gordon, I guess the other question is, as he keeps wondering and worrying about that tire, will he pit?
I believe he is. I believe he's coming to pit road right now, or he's either slowing down a bunch right now. Yeah, he's in trouble. Look at him weaving back and forth. He's got a problem.
And he decided not to come in, and that may cost him. There goes the right rear. It's gone. It took some of the fender with it.
And there's the caution. There's the caution that Clint Boyer in the 21 probably did not want to see.
Robbie Gordon needed a caution. He just didn't need it for it to be him. Now, with the inner liner, that car will still go around the racetrack, but he tore up a right rear.
Now, I think, and again, it's hard to keep up with, so bear with me here. I don't think Robbie Gordon has any sets of tires left under caution. The only one he'll be able to change is that one tire that's in trouble. Now, we're pretty sure that Clint Boyer has a set of tires left. Kyle Busch and Casey Kane, we know, does not have a set of tires left. And right now, we're showing 7 cars on the lead lap. Mike Bliss in the 20 should get the free pass.
So Robbie Gordon will roll around on the skins. He thought he had a tire problem. There you see the chunking at the start-finish line and that carcass come off. He was down low on the racetrack, Larry, and I thought he was going to bring it to pit road. If he is point racing, that'd be big picture racing. And maybe the tire was down so low he couldn't make the turn onto pit road.
But what a break, Mike, because there's only 8 cars on the lead lap, and he's still going to be on the lead lap, so this will be a break for him. So if he can just nurse this thing home for about 8 or 9 laps, he'll still finish on the lead lap in the top 10.
You don't often see somebody's bad luck, yours, turn out to be somebody's good luck, yours.
Exactly.
All right, Jeff, what are we going to see when they open pit road?
Well, right now, the 21 car, I think it's pretty much decided. They're going to come get some tires. They have some left over, but the 38 car you've been talking about early on, he's out of tires. Casey Kane called in, said, hey, guys, I need some tires, and they called him back and said, sorry, my friend. What you got is what you've got.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff, we know Robbie Gordon's out of tires. We know Kyle Busch, Casey Kane. Steve Shaw is checking on you guys in the pits on Johnny Sauter and Johnny Benson. We think Michael Waltrip's out of tires. So realistically, of our 7 cars on the lead lap, and remember, we have almost 70 to 75 laps on this set of tires right now, it's kind of a no-brainer for Clint Boyer and that group to come get those tires.
True. And when they give the restart, now that we're inside 10 laps to go, it'll be a single file restart. So the free pass will not benefit Mike Bliss because he'll have to start behind all those lap cars at the tail end. He just won't have to race anybody. He will be the 8th place car in this race if nothing else happens. But the restart will be single file, lead lap cars to the front, then everybody else. And pit road's open. Let's see who comes.
Well, you know, even with the single file restart in a, only lead lap cars to the front, that means Clint Boyer will be able to drive all the way up to the last lead lap car. So I like the position, and I think he's going to be one of the few that's able to come get tires. We know Robbie Gordon's going to get one, and we're seeing Kyle Busch in the 5 on pit road. Jeff Hammond.
Clint Boyer is out on pit road. They've decided they're going to put tires on him, give him some fuel to make sure that's not going to be an issue right here toward the end. Going for the 4, no adjustments. The one thing I kept telling him was make sure you get it inside the box, man. Make sure you get it inside the box. Left rear tire's going on. Looks like he's going to be in good shape right there.
Whoa! Michael Waltrip tried to pull in, couldn't get into his pit for Boyer coming out. That'll be costly, Matt.
The 55 is in changing tires. Johnny Benson had a set of tires left. When I walked into the pit, James Finch, the owner, had a big smile on his face. The 5 car of Kyle Busch, he had a set left as the work continues on the left side of Johnny B.
6 of the 8 cars on the lead lap came in, Larry.
So I think we got our answer. It appears that the cars that had a set of tires left for caution was Clint Boyer in the 21, Johnny Benson in the 1, Johnny Sauter in the 27, and Kyle Busch in the 5 car. Those guys will have 4 fresh tires for this sprint right here.
So of the 8 cars, looks like Michael Waltrip is going to end up in 8th out of that group because he could not get into his pit box because of Clint Boyer coming out. So Michael will have to come back around and pit with the lap down cars, though he'll still be the last car on the lead lap there in 8th place. That is, should he choose to pit. Of course, now the lap down cars can pit. Michael can even come in next time around or whenever he wants to and still close up with those lead lap cars. Now the cars 1 lap down, Jason Leffler, J.J. Yaley, David Green. 2 laps down, we have Jason Keller, 2 laps down, along with Robert Presley and Tim Fedowa. Now here's how Michael Waltrip saw it coming into his pit.
He's pitting right in front of the 21 car Clint Boyer, and this is about the time that Clint's leaving pit road. Michael could not get in his pit, but that was a heads-up move on Michael because that may have ended both their days right there on that pit stop.
We'll see if he comes in next time around. We're not too far from going back to green. 8 laps to go. We are still within the window where, if necessary for cleanup, they could red flag this race and get it restarted. We'll be right back. We're going to go for a ride for 5 laps here at Nashville Superspeedway, and most of these fans are still here because they sense a shootout. Michael Waltrip did make his pit stop under the next lap of caution. He is one of those lead lap cars. There are 8 of them, including the free pass car, which is the number 20 of Mike Bliss. So Casey Kane on worn tires will be the leader. Right behind him, Clint Boyer, Kyle Busch, Robbie Gordon, who got to change the tire that was down that brought out the caution, along with Johnny Benson, Johnny Sauter, and Michael Waltrip. Here we go. It's going to be a 5-lap single file shootout.
Yeah, Casey Kane in the 38, I mean, with 5 laps to go, I think he's a sitting duck, Mike, because he has 75 laps on those tires, and everybody behind him, there you see, and Kyle Busch can get a very good restart in the 5 car, but now we're hearing that the 55, Robbie Gordon, did have a set of tires left, so everybody on the lead lap, with the exception of Casey Kane, was able to change 4 tires as Clint Boyer has come to the line with 4 to go as a leader.
Tell you who else is lit up is Michael Waltrip. He's right on the tail end of this pack of lead lap cars, 7 of them, as they hunt down Kyle Busch for 2nd place, and they're using up all the racetrack. And Clint Boyer, the rookie, after Texas, he's going from 0 to hero if he can hang on and win this.
Yeah, now Casey Kane in the 38 car, he has fell behind everyone that has 4 tires, but boy, we're going to have us a battle here with 3 laps to go. We got the top 6 cars right there together in a line.
And Kyle Busch is coming. He is closing it right back up on Clint Boyer. 1 car up and slams the wall. Drifts down in front of traffic, but he's going to be able to keep going. Is that Yaley?
J.J. Yaley in the 18 car. We have no caution, though, and NASCAR's trying to get him to get down and get off the racetrack. We got a battle for the lead down the backstretch, though.
Here
Kyle Busch in the 5, side by side with Clint Boyer under 21.
Watching him, watching the flag man. No sign of yellow. Busch has the lead. Boyer wants it. Here comes Benson. They are almost 3 wide as they come off the corner. No caution. Here come the leaders. Boyer holds it. Busch is right, with him. 4 cars under a blanket.
2 by 2 with 2 to go.
And Yaley is off the racetrack. He's out of harm's way. Here they come, and Kyle Busch is going to try to hold him off. Boyer taps.
Oh, they're sideways. Look at Robbie Gordon on the high side. He gets all 4 cars, all the leaders.
Caution comes out as Michael Waltrip makes the pass.
Now remember, the field was frozen when the caution came out, but the cars that caused the caution, they are not able to stay on the lead lap or get the free pass.
Larry, as I saw it looking across the track, at the moment the starter lifted the caution flag, Michael Waltrip had passed those cars to take the lead. And a fellow who was down in the mouth all weekend about his Busch program just not coming together is probably going to go to victory lane. They are still crashing down the front straightaway as they come to the line.
Yeah, Michael started back in 22nd position. We did get the white flag.
I've seen a lot of wild finishes and not too many to match up to this one.
And you know, there was a point this race did not have that look about it about halfway through, but who would have ever thought we'd have 4 cars going for the lead with a lap and a half to go on the backstretch.
And when Kyle Busch got sideways, they all wadded up, and Michael Waltrip was just far enough behind them to be able to clear them on the outside.
And I think the other car that got by was Johnny Sauter in the 27 right now. Again, scoring. We'll have to check scoring, but he's showing in 2nd place right now.
You know, Larry, I think everybody that was involved in the backstretch got away and came on around.
Yeah, everyone is going. It's like they were just locked up back there.
Oh.
And the checkered flag is out.
And it's going to wave over Michael Waltrip, who unofficially is our winner. We will have to await a review from NASCAR of the scoring at the time the field was frozen under caution. But it's our belief that Michael Waltrip had cleared those cars and will go to victory lane. Oh, let's sort this one out.
Now they're coming off turn 2. This was with about a lap and a half to go. You saw the 21 just barely got in the back of the 5, and then it looked like Johnny Benson got in the back of the 21 and just kind of sucked in Robbie Gordon in the 55 car. Chain reaction.
There's the first contact. Boyer into Busch, Benson and Gordon into Boyer, and the caution comes out right about there as Michael Waltrip had made the pass, and we believe Johnny Sauter had gone to 2nd. Larry, it's 4 guys trying to win it.
Yeah, I mean, this was with a lap and a half to go, and there's guys trying to win their first Busch Series race right there. Robbie Gordon and Clint Boyer in the 21, and Johnny Benson, who has not been to victory lane in a long time in the Busch Series.
Let's ride with Michael Waltrip. Right now, he's 5th.
He knew something was happening. You could hear him get out of the throttle even before anyone touched anyone. He knew it was fixing to break loose.
And you saw the caution light, and when it came on, Michael had cleared those cars. Now, even so, Larry, as you pointed out, to be able to retain your position under caution, even though the field is frozen, you must be able to maintain pace car speed, and those cars spinning through the grass weren't doing that.
And I think that's going to be the key with Michael being the winner and Johnny Sauter in 2nd is Robbie Gordon, Clint Boyer, Kyle Busch, and Johnny Benson. They're the ones that brought the caution out. I think that's going to be the key.
Now, we saw last week with Joe Nemechek when he spun and brought out a caution, grabbed a gear and kept going in 17th. It doesn't mean you have to go all the way to the back, but you have to be able to maintain pace. Even so, I believe from looking at the starter stand and the accident directly across the track that Michael had completed the pass of those cars when we saw that caution light flash. NASCAR confirms it. Michael Waltrip has his 11th career victory in the NASCAR Busch Series, 11 wins in 206 career starts, his first win since Bristol and August. Here we are in Nashville, and a Waltrip goes to victory lane.
I wonder if he'll stand on his head again today in victory lane.
Well, he won't pop out the roof hatch, but I'll bet if it had one, he would.
Yes, he would.
Jeff, you remember talking to Michael this morning, and he looked like his dog was sick. I mean, he was just hung down and brung down, and he just didn't feel like he was getting this Busch program together like he wanted.
No, Mike, you're exactly right. And But the thing is, right now, I think the key to Michael's success today was the fact he was not quitting. He was going to keep working and just keep working very diligently to try to get this program turned around. And this is exactly what you need, is a shot in the arm. He was there, he was in contention, and he took advantage of what happened.
And you got to give credit, Jeff and Mike, to Jerry Baxter and that crew. Remember,
Yes.
he had that left front fender tore up from that wreck down in turn 3 and 4 with about 50 laps to go. They didn't give up either.
For Michael Waltrip, being out of the lead pack was the key to victory. Talk about a rejuvenating moment.
Absolutely.
There he sits in victory lane. The unofficial finish from scoring shows Robbie Gordon coming across the line in third, Clint Boyer fourth, Kyle Busch in fifth, Casey Kane, Johnny Benson, and Mike Bliss as the lead lap cars, but we'll await confirmation on that. What we do know for sure is that Matt Yoakum's about to greet our winner, Michael Waltrip.
The only trouble he's having is trying to get the helmet hung up inside the race car. He's getting the Hans device off. And Michael Waltrip, his first start here at the Nashville Super Speedway. And he gets the big time trophy, Gibson guitar. Where do we even begin, Michael?
Let's go back to just Kansas City last fall when we had that race wired and had it get away from us, with just a few laps to go. I've lost a lot of Busch races that I thought I should have won or could have won, maybe would have won, but today we just were lucky for sure. I knew the only chance I had was to try to go down the wall and hope they all got in the wreck, and when I came out the other end and didn't see anybody in front of me, I said, well, that worked out like it was supposed to. I want to thank Aaron's, where we're leasing quality furnitures and appliances for less. That's important for me to say. They're my sponsor. And also thank my wife for letting me come here on Easter weekend and race. I love you, Buff. Hi, Mace. Hi, girls. Kate. I hope everybody's doing well. In the Bahamas, that's where they're at. I know they're doing well. Old Mike's stuck here in Nashville, but
Playing a guitar.
my pal Jerry Baxter,
His first win together with you.
it is his first win, and he deserves another. He deserves lots of wins. He's done a great job being my crew chief. I'm real proud of him. Also want to thank Bobby Kennedy. He isn't with us anymore. He went to work for my brother, but Bobby really has helped the transition with me and Jerry and this team. So Chevrolet, they've been a great friend of mine over the last 4 or 5 years, and we've gotten them a few wins. I want to thank them as well.